Hey there, fellow knowledge seeker. Ever feel like you're just drowning in information constantly but can't seem to hold on to it?
Totally. It's like drinking from a fire hose.
Right. So today we are diving deep into a skill that can make you a real info-grabbing ninja.
Oh, this is about note-taking. I love this.
Yes, note-taking, but not just like scribbling random things down. We're talking about strategies for making information stick.
It's funny, we often think of note-taking as this simple thing, but it's surprisingly deep, isn't it?
No, absolutely. Like when I was looking at the research for this episode, it really struck me how many different ways people define note-taking.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, one source even compared it to like keeping minutes during a meeting.
Which is interesting because it shows note-taking isn't just for students, right?
Right. It's a tool for anyone who's serious about remembering things, applying information, really making the most of what they're learning.
And that's what I think is so cool, this idea that it's not just about memorizing facts, it's about broader learning.
Totally. And it all ties back to how our brains actually learn. When you're taking notes, you're not just passively absorbing like a sponge. You're actively processing, making connections.
It's like building a mental framework.
Exactly. You're summarizing, you're paraphrasing, you're basically telling your brain, hey, this is important, remember this.
Hmm. So active engagement is key. But where does listening fit into all of this?
Oh, that's the secret sauce. You see, it's not just about what we hear, it's about how we listen.
I feel like a lot of people think listening just happens, like it's automatic.
Right. But think of it like this. Passive listening. It's like trying to fill a bucket that's riddled with holes. Active listening, that's where you patch up those holes, and every drop of knowledge actually stays put.
I love that analogy. And actually, our sources break down 4 different types of listening: appreciative, empathetic, comprehensive, and of course, active.
And they really focus on active listening as being the most crucial for taking good notes.
Makes sense. But what makes active listening so special? How do we actually do it?
Well, imagine you're in a lecture, right? Active listening means you're not just zoning out, letting the words wash over you. You're in a conversation with the speaker almost, asking yourself, what's the main point here? How does this connect to what I already know?
So you're anticipating, questioning, making connections on the fly.
Exactly. And this is where it gets really cool. Active listening goes beyond just thinking about the material. It's about actually doing things while you listen,
Like what? Give me an example.
like summarizing what you've just heard in your own words, or even jotting down a quick paraphrase.
And get this, the research actually shows that just the act of paraphrasing while you take notes, it can be huge for understanding and remembering later on.
Huge. It's like you're translating the information into your own language, making it stick.
Right. Okay, so we've got active listening down, at least we're thinking about it now. But what about the actual techniques? How do we take notes that don't suck?
Okay, so our sources talked about a bunch of different methods,
Mm.
and I think the key takeaway is this. There's no one right way. It really depends on you, your learning style, what you're trying to get out of it.
So it's like having different tools in a toolbox, right? You pick the best one for the job.
Exactly. So we've got the classic outlining method, always a good one.
The tried and true, bullet points, hierarchy, all that jazz.
Right. And then there's the sentence method, basically just writing down each new thought as a concise sentence. Super helpful for when there's a ton of information coming at you fast.
Like fire hose situation.
Exactly. And then, of course, we've got the whole world of digital note-taking.
Oh, yeah. Can't forget about the apps, Evernote, OneNote, all those. So many options.
And the cool thing about those digital tools is the flexibility they offer, you know? Organizing, searching, even recording audio along with your written notes. It's amazing.
It really is. But you know what's funny? While I was reading about this, I came across this study, and it actually suggested that taking notes by hand, like old school pen and paper, might be more effective for learning.
I know, right? It sounds counterintuitive in the digital age, but there's something about that physical act of writing, engaging with the material.
Yeah, it forces you to slow down a little, really process what's being said.
Exactly. And let's be real, having a laptop in front of you, it's a recipe for distraction.
Totally. 1 minute you're taking notes, the next minute you're scrolling through, whatever catches your eye.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay, but shifting gears a bit here, I want to talk about something that I find so fascinating. The unspoken language of note-taking.
Oh, yeah. It's like you're reading between the lines, picking up on these subtle cues that tell you, hey, this is important.
It's like being a detective.
Exactly. It's not just what the speaker is saying, it's their tone, their body language.
Absolutely. Like if they suddenly speed up, or maybe they start using their hands more, that's a sign that they're about to drop some serious knowledge bombs.
Right. It's like a secret signal. Pay attention. This is the good stuff.
Exactly. Mastering those nonverbal cues can make a world of difference. Okay, so we've talked about active listening, different techniques, even a bit of detective work. Now let's get practical. What are some do's and don'ts, things our listeners can start using right away to help their note-taking game?
Yeah, give us the cheat codes.
All right, here's a big don't: stop trying to write down every single word.
Oh my gosh, yes. I used to be so guilty of that. It's like you're trying to create a transcript instead of actually engaging with the material.
Right. You're not a court reporter. Focus on capturing the essence, the key ideas, using phrases, keywords.
Distilling it down to its purest form. Love it. Okay, give us a do then.
Embrace paraphrasing. Don't be afraid to put things into your own words. Make it personal.
Because that's how you really make it stick, right? It's like you're creating your own mental map of the information.
Exactly. It's your understanding. Another do, and this one is huge: structure, structure, structure.
Oh, preach. Headings, subheadings, bullet points, all of that. It makes such a difference.
100%. It's like creating a clear path through the forest of information. And don't underestimate the power of visuals, highlighting different colors.
Oh yeah, I'm all about those highlighters. Color coding is my jam.
It makes your notes pop, draws attention to what's important.
It's like creating your own visual hierarchy.
Exactly. Now, a don't that I think a lot of people, especially perfectionists, struggle with: if you miss something, don't freak out.
Oh, the note-taking spiral of doom. It's real.
It happens. Just leave a space and move on. You can always go back and fill in the gaps later.
Ask a friend, check the recording, whatever. Don't let it derail you.
Exactly. Remember, it's a process, not a race. Speaking of process, let's talk about reviewing.
Because taking the notes is only half the battle, right?
Exactly. You've got to revisit them, engage with them. It's like taking your notes to the gym. That's where the real learning magic happens.
Okay, so you've got these beautiful, color-coded, organized notes. They're like works of art. But what do we do with them now?
Now comes the real magic. We can't just let them sit there like museum exhibits, right? We've got to interact with them, actually use them to solidify what we've learned.
I love that. It's like you can read a recipe 100 times, but until you get in the kitchen and actually bake the cake,
Right.
you're not really getting the full experience. You're not making anything delicious.
Exactly. Reviewing your notes, that's where you take those ingredients and you put them to work.
So reviewing is key. But we've talked about how everyone learns a little differently. So does that mean there's a right way to review? Or is it more about finding what works for you?
You hit it right on the head. Note-taking, reviewing, it's all super personal. What works for one person might totally flop for someone else.
And that's okay.
It is. The important thing is to try different things until something clicks.
So don't be afraid to experiment.
Not at all. Try it all. Outlining, sentence method, digital tools, mix and match even. See what feels right for you.
I love that. It's like having a whole arsenal of tools, and you get to pick which one's best for the job.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, and I know we've covered a ton, I keep coming back to something you said earlier about note-taking being an investment.
It is.
It's an investment in ourselves, our future selves.
Right. The better we are at taking notes, the more knowledge we retain, the more we can learn, have better conversations, you name it. It all builds on itself.
It's like we're setting ourselves up for success just by how we take notes.
I love that. So, to our listeners, next time you open up that fresh notebook or you're starting a new note on your laptop, remember, you're not just jotting down words. You're creating this pathway to deeper understanding. You are becoming a better learner.
And who knows what amazing things you'll achieve because of it.
This has been fantastic. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into note-taking. Yes, thank you.
And until next time, happy note-taking, everyone.